战友之声，
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 战友之声，战友之声，
战友之声。
China's economic growth relies heavily on investment, which means that it requires major injection of capital. One way China achieved that is increasing the money supply, literally printing more currency. Makes one wonder where, how, and when China got the plates, paper, and a special ink to start printing American currency. The total value of yuan issued in 2018 is 174 trillion yuan and is equivalent to 27.19 trillion US dollar. That is more than the US dollar issued in America or the euro issued in Europe. So in fact, China is now the world's biggest money spender and issuer. Because China doesn't let the money out, but at the same time they have so much money, then where do their money go? Of course, it's the real estate. Their current real estate, do you know how much? The current total market value of the real estate is 413 trillion yuan. At 430 trillion yuan, they could buy the entire United States of the total value of the real estate in 4 cities: Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen. The construction of the Tianju was completed, but no one lived in there. The city like this, we call it a ghost town. Another ghost town is Inko. The development of the Chinese cities is mainly dominated by the government, but the living standard of the Chinese people is not necessarily improved. The government is looking at the growth that comes with economic constructions.
不过人民的生活水准不一定随之提高，政府看重的是兴建过程中带来的经济成长。
If the central government sets a GDP target, they have to meet that target, and the easiest way to do it is just to build.
Isn't all this construction a good thing? It's creating jobs, it's getting the economy moving. That's good, isn't it?
Yes, but people forget that it's not the quantity of GDP that matters, it's the quality of GDP.
The reason CCP can print money successfully in the world, first using the docks in Hong Kong, a lot of the private lendings, and I will show you in the future, the private lending curve in China goes up like this. From this they get the dollars. The CCP cannot live without dollars. Second, a large number of the foreign investors come to invest in China. The third one is Taiwan, Hong Kong businessmen with all their properties, and they will give it to the Communist Party of China, which you have helped the CCP. One Belt and One Road runs through the 3 continents of Asia, Europe, and Africa, and it connects the 3 emerging East Asia economic circles and the developed European economic circle. The main projects are railway, highway, ports, and other infrastructures. With a total investment of the $6 trillion US dollars, Xi Jinping, China's president, formally proposed the initiatives in September 2013. Officials say that the One Belt and One Road meets the needs of the globalization and bring together the interests of China and participating countries. But in the past 5 years, far from becoming a community of common interest, One Belt and One Road has intensified its conflict with countries along the road. To cope with the huge investment, the Chinese government has set up the Silk Road Fund and the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank to finance it. The countries along One Belt and One Road have low interest rates, but huge loans have pushed many countries into debt crisis. According to the March reports by the Center of Global Development, a US-based global think tank, 8 countries in Asia, Africa, and Europe have led to a debt crisis that is particularly acute. Some of the countries have the debts of more than 50% of their GDP. China became the biggest creditor.
The Belt and Road Initiative can provide much-needed infrastructure financing to partner countries. But these ventures can also lead.
In Pakistan, for example, the second largest city, Lahore, is building the subway. China invested $62 billion in this project. On the verge of the completion, it was suddenly discovered that the project was so heavily in debt that it could not turn into a profit, and it could go bankrupt. It is now reported that the government of Pakistan has the second thought of these important projects. In a report to the State Department in May, Harvard University cited that the Chinese government to use the debt in exchange for other strategic resources from countries along One Belt and One Road. Djibouti, a deeply in debt African country, became the first country to build a military base overseas. Sri Lanka in South Asia was forced to terminate its contract late last year to lease 15,000 acres of ports and a surrounding land to China for 99 years because it could not repay a $1 billion loan. In addition, China uses One Belt and One Road to export access capacities, and 89% of the project contractors are Chinese enterprises. As a result, it is difficult for countries along the Belt and Road to see the benefits sharing.
Around the globe, whether in low-income, in emerging, or in advanced economies, those projects can always present the risk of potentially failed projects and the misuse of funds. In some corners, it's actually called corruption.
In terms of just open free trade, it must also be fair trade. In that, I support free trade together with President Lee, Prime Minister Lee, because I think this is the way to go for the whole world.
And he says Beijing is employing a whole-of-government approach to advance its influence and benefit its interests. It's employing this power in more proactive and coercive ways to interfere in the domestic policies and politics of the United States. He goes on to say, to put it bluntly, President Trump's leadership is working. China wants a different American president. China is meddling in America's democracy. He also says, in terms of the military, Beijing is trying to project its power farther than ever before. Sean, Chinese ships routinely patrol around the Senkaku Islands, which are administered by Japan. And while China's leader stood in the Rose Garden of the White House in 2015 and said that his country had no intention to militarize the South China Sea, today Beijing has deployed advanced anti-ship and anti-air missiles atop an archipelago of military bases constructed on artificial islands.
The biggest problem we have, like with China, is that they're sucking money out of this country. Then the horrible part is they then loan it back to us. So China takes the money out, they then loan it back. Hey, look, I know lots of folks in China. They think we are the dumbest son of a bitches in the world, all right? They think our representatives don't know what they're doing. They laugh at us behind our back. They're taking money out, and then they loan it to us. Think of it. They come in, they take all this money out in the form of jobs and everything else. Then they loan us money because they're buying our treasuries. It's ridiculous. And the truth is...